What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy ChasmRift here, and today is a special video on a heavily debated topic of does RNG or HAX, or whatever you prefer to call it, drastically affect match outcomes in Pokemon. In the past, this was not as heavily debated since at the tournament level, you could play in a best of 3 format where if you had a bad game, you have another opportunity to make it back up. But since the Rona, Delta episode, and fan-made games decided to go on longer than a year, we've been forced to play best of 1 on the Battle Stadium or Showdown ladders, where, let's be real, you're more than likely to see some BS in some matchups. So I decided to do 100 battles and keep track of the moves and take notes on the matches to see if RNG affected match outcomes. I did this back in Series 9, so while this is technically dated info, we're still competing in a Dynamax format throughout majority of the Sword and Shield's lifespan. Yes, before you ask, this idea was inspired by another creator. Before we get into the data, let me break down exactly how I critique the result. Moves that have low accuracy. Anything below 70% accuracy, and if it connects, is considered bad RNG against the targeted person. So for example, if a raw hypnosis hit, that is bad RNG against the person who got hit by it. However, moves with 70% or higher accuracy but miss is also considered bad RNG. So again, if a move like Will-O-Wisp missed or a single target Rock Slide missed, that is considered bad RNG for the user. Secondary effects that aren't guaranteed are calced, but not repeated use. So let me explain. If a Politoed used Scald 5 turns and got a burn in one of those Scalds, I did not consider that bad RNG because the chances of burn would happen were in his favor. But things like a YOLO Ice Beam that freezes is obviously lucky. Number 3, damage rolls. So for my damage calculations, I just calced every target as if they had max stats, just to cover all my bases for the most extreme examples, unless otherwise. If my calc suggests that a Pokemon living was based on a low roll or fainting from a high roll, I consider it bad RNG because that came down to a variable that could be absent if the same scene was replayed 10 times. The thing I did was record throughout different times of days to try and increase my odds of finding players from different regions and time zones. I did 36 games at 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. slot, 33 games at the 2 to 10 p.m. slot, and 31 games at 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. These are all done in Central Standard Time. I know this sounds like a lot to consider, but when you conduct the research, you got to know what you're looking for, and besides, things will be much simpler when you see the results. Please leave a like and comment, and share this video if you enjoyed this. Like, I say this a lot in videos, but seriously, I do mean it. If there was ever a video to show support, I'm asking you to be this one. Because this took 26 hours alone to just record the matches for the data. Let me know how many games you think I lost from bad RNG. Before we get into this, my guess during this experiment would have been about 5 to 7. So without further ado, let's get into this. This is the team I used to start the data. Don't ask me questions about the team because that's not the important part. Anyways, game 1 through 10 had a few bad RNG moments. Game 2, I was hit with a raw hypnosis from my Melodic and was forced to sleep for 3 full turns on Whimsicott. Ultimately led to my loss since I relied on Tailwind to try and win. Game 3, opponent missed a raw Focus Blast, but it didn't matter, they still won. Game 4, I missed a crucial Heat Wave on Glastrier, led to my loss. Game 7, Will-O-Wisp missed, but I won. Game 8, a Heat Wave missed on Registeel, but another win on my side. Game 16, this isn't bad RNG, but I faced a Dazzling Gleam Indeedee and Draining Kiss Tapu Fini. Yeah, I seen some weird stuff on the ladder. Game 17, Snarl missed on Rotom Heat, but we won. This is getting repetitive, but you should get the idea. The RNG/HAX that we're looking for are for game-deciding moments. From here on, we'll only focus on those and a few bread moments it caught on cam. Game 20, I missed a Draco Meteor on the opponent's Dynamax Dracovish. Then in said battle, the opponent had an ally switch sturdy Magnezone whose weakness policy was activated and got a crit KO with Thunderbolt. This was a whole lot of cheese rolled into one, as the damage calc said, a standard Dracovish gets one-shotted against a raw Draco Meteor. As for the Magnezone, if they were max special attack investment and the beneficial nature, Thunderbolt would not KO. So a critical raw Draco miss and a critical Thunderbolt was needed for me to lose. I had to go outside and take a walk after seeing that. Game 23, my Scrafty got flinched by Rock Slide, but in my notes it says Rock Slide did miss Scrafty later on, so water under the bridge. Wait, never mind. We will return to this. Games 24 to 28 were tamed. Game 29, Politoed got a Skull Burn that mattered. The very next game, we missed a Will-O-Wisp on Dynamax Mamoswine, who lived on 1 HP later, got an Ice Fang freeze on my Thunderous. Again, another bro moment, but we saw they had a Regieleki in the back. So without the craziness in favor of the Mamoswine, we still had a chance to clutch out the win in a 1v1. Game 30, I simply wrote F them. Okay, more importantly, we updated the team by giving Whimsicott to Protect. I felt this was important after the shenanigans seen earlier, but I didn't want to be that guy who changed up his team every 5 battles. Game 35, we will return to this. Game 42. Screw Malamar teams and the people who use them. Go outside and touch grass. Game 46 was one of 3 teams I faced with Slowpoke and Palisand on it. I wish I was kidding. Game 51, Tapu Fini hits himself in confusion. Didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Should mention at Game 51 we swapped Cinderace for Tapu Fini to finish out the team run. Also something to note was I made a terrible decision of taunting Hatterini. We'll come back to what this means at the end. Game 53, nothing crazy happens. Just funny that timer selected my team while I was taking notes, but my opponent couldn't handle that. They race quit. The very next one, Game 54, we ran into the Slowpoke team. Again, what are the odds? And nothing too crazy happened. Got my revenge against this team, but turn 6, I got a Moonblast crit. Compared to the damage of the previous turn, either the crit mattered or we needed a high roll to get the KO. Otherwise, Expanding Force would have gotten a double KO. So, this was bad RNG for my opponent. The RNG lords must have wanted a Soul Force Soul because the next game we lost to an Ally Switch Meowstic, Huge Power Dynamax Diggersby, and Soft Bull Chansey team. Play like these needs to ride in the Distortion world. Game 63, I wrote F these calcs, man. Let's see what I meant. Oh, a bunch of near KOs. Okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay, man. I'm gonna chill here, man. I'm gonna chill. The thing is, alright? The thing is I killed you once already. And it's not like I am fucking crazy. It's okay. It's like water under the bridge. Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Okay, let's shake it off with the next game. An AFK opponent. We could do this. And we did win, but our Moonblast activated competitive twice. I would have raged so hard if we lost because of that. 2 games later, we ran into the same Slowpoke player again. This says a lot about matchmaking at the end of the season. Anyways, they timer stalled me as I walked away with the W. Sometimes I really hate best of 1, because people who are running these teams tend to have poor attitudes to losing. Game 68, I wrote in my notes how much I hate Riolu and Gigalith teams during the season. So annoying to play against. Game 69, nice. I lost, but we'll come back to this. No pun intended. Game 70, we won even when we missed a fly on Volcarona. Who said you need a 95% accurate move to hit to win? Game 71 lost to a prick who wanted to freestyle his W with a Heat Wave hit on top of Fini. Glad they missed. They looked dumb for it. Game 72, lost from Dynamax Naganadel being paralyzed for a turn. Game 73, the small drought is over as we went thanks to Sludge Bomb Poison on Urshifu making a difference. Game 74 to 83 was pretty normal games, even got a Rage Quit W, which is always nice to see. But all this was built up to create an insane RNG match for Game 84. Sacred Fire missed on Tornadus. This meant Tornadus could connect 2 icy wins on my team while living long enough to shake off the taunt I placed and set up a late game 12 win to snag the victory. Game 85, Entei missed Will-O-Wisp on Dynamax Landorus, and then my opponent ally switched turn 2. Funny we got a burner and a Gothitelle, but that Will-O-Wisp miss hurt badly, despite us winning. Game 88, low roll on Ice Beam hitting Dynamax Landorus. Looking back, I think it's up in the air if it affected the match outcome, so yeah, make it however you will. Game 89, we did miss a Sacred Fire. But game 90, man. Porygon 2, Allister's turn 1, Torkoal lived on 1 HP from a crit max worm win. Porygon 2 Alice switched again to avoid their Venusaur getting KO'd. In my notebook I wrote, I hope you step on a Lego.
I'm gonna chill. The thing is, alright? The thing is I killed you once already.
Game 91, we had our government mandated bot win as we faced the Regigigas team without a Weezing. Instead they had a Latios with Simple Beam. I wonder how they made it into Master Ball tier if they used this team. No, seriously, this team isn't very consistent even for Ultra Ball tier. Game 96 we won, but we could revisit this. Game 98, this wasn't bad RNG, but I faced a Cinderace that was Scarfed and a Regieleki outsped my Whimsicott in Tailwind. Sad times. Finally, game 100, and we won in the most appropriate manner. My opponent rage quitting. Okay, statistics and analysis time. In the 100 games I played during this time, I went 44 and 56. I know it's not great and I'm not proud of this. In fact, I played way better during other ranked seasons, and I even top cut a Premier Challenge in the past. but the unfortunate side of my results was doing this all on a time crunch. Some days I had to sit down and play 20 games, but at different time periods, because I wanted to have global match diversity instead of just playing American and Japanese players. So mentally I was fatigued. Why are you wondering why I did this with 6 days left in the series? Well, it's none of your business. Anyway, this is our chance to take a guess in the comments below on how many games you think I lost from bad RNG before announcing the results. In terms of games I've lost from the bad RNG, was a whopping 10. It's crazy that 18% of my losses came from bad RNG. Like I said at the start, I expected 5 to 7 L's to come from genuinely unlucky plays, but at the same time, I think the biggest takeaway from this is the factors of the experiment. I did this starting on July 25th, which means I had 6 days to not only play 100 games before the series ended, but the combination of note taking, playing at different hours of the day, and trying to run calcs ran its toll on me. I don't think RNG completely overtakes proper play. A great example of this is in game 96. My opponent had just had a double rock slide flinch at my top of Fanny, and because he didn't go for an extreme speed to get a KO to win, I won with a crit Draco Meteor. All that could have been avoided had they made the optimal plays. As for me, I lost game 35 to a 5 Pokemon team. I played horribly in this match as I went for Snarl on a Dragonite instead of using Flicker Fire to win. Game 23, I was winning this game by playing extremely well. I was up 4-1 against their Galarian Zapdos. I even wrote in my notebook a premature W. If you were told to bet money on a Pokemon match, you would bet on me. But of course I found a way to toss. I was all up in my head, made poor decisions, and yeah, we lost to a fairly frail bird. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm glad I lost so much because it meant there were more opportunities to chalk up my losses to bad luck, either with cold hard proof or blindless accusations. I'm not saying bad RNG isn't an issue, but people gotta understand and accept that it is all relative. I had a stream during the next series where I had an 80% win rate. If I stayed consistent, godlike, for 100 games and went hypothetically 80 and 20, and hypothetically had half of the quote unquote bad RNG moments I had in this experiment, that would mean 25% of my hypothetical losses would have came from bad RNG. But that's only 5 out of 20. Or 5 out of 100 games if we disregard wins from good RNG. So, let's say a top BGC player or you having a good ladder run were to lose, then you're psychologically more susceptible to despise bad RNG than someone wasting 4 days of his life to conduct an experiment. If anything, I hated facing unusual Pokemon than bad rolls on a move, because Pokemon you don't have much data on are much more difficult to overcome in a best of one scenario. I want to thank everybody for watching this if you made it all the way to the end. Yeah, I really greatly appreciate it if you share this around. It's taken me about 3 days to actually edit this. Right now it's currently 4:30 in the morning. I've spent about 6.5 hours today alone to edit this. In fact, the screenshot you see on screen is a glimpse of the editing process for this video. So again, I would greatly appreciate if you share this around, especially if you got people that you know who like to blame everything on RNG, on hacks, on things like that. Show them this video so you can end debates or add more to the topic. And yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. By the time it drops, hopefully I'll be chilling back home in Chicago. But yeah, I'm about to let this render out and I'm about to go work a 9-hour shift in a few hours. So bye. Like I said, leave a like, subscribe if you want to, comment down below as well. All that stuff helps out. Like, seriously, help me not regret all of my life choices by doing this. Thanks. Bye.